Hi there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I want to share with you my recipe for another condiment, preserved lemons. So this is super easy. It's a lacto-ferment, which really means, it's fermented with salt. This recipe is centuries old, in fact, and there's a few different ways to do it. And I'm going to show you a very simple, easy way. You're going to need some fresh lemons. I prefer to use organic lemons. You can use Meyer lemons as well. They're very nice. They have a little bit of a sweeter, beautiful flavor and aroma. And they have, I think, slightly thinner skins. I've used them before for this recipe. Super easy. The salt that I'm using is a Himalayan sea salt. You can, of course, use a sea salt that you prefer, but not an iodized sea salt. You want to use a good quality sea salt. And then I have a number of things that I'm going to personalize my lemons with, and you could do the same and kind of think about what type of dishes you would be using your lemons in. You know, we see preserved lemons often in Middle Eastern cooking, Mediterranean dishes, and North African, like Moroccan type dishes like tagine and chicken recipes, things like that. So I've got some peppercorns here. I've got some really lovely fresh red chilies, bay leaf. I've got cinnamon, anise seed, and some cloves that I think I'm going to experiment a little bit with. I've got some fresh thyme, and I've also got some fresh rosemary. So let's get started. You're going to need to sterilize your jars as well. Make sure I'm just using some mason jars. And this is going to sit in your cupboard between 2 weeks and a month before you can really get the benefit of it. The other thing I really love about these is it produces quite a beautiful syrupy kind of liquid. So even if you're not using all the lemons for a particular dish, I sometimes use this beautiful, tangy, salty, syrupy portion of the preserved lemons in things like a salad dressing. It's kind of a unique and beautiful flavor. So I really hope you enjoy this, and let's get started. So a quick tip as well, depending on your local grocer, at times we're forced to buy, large packages of these little red chilies, and sometimes we're disappointed when we go to the fridge and find that they've not held up so nicely, and they can actually go moldy quite quickly. So I store mine in the freezer, and I'll take a few out at a time, chop them very finely, and leave them beside the stove so that I can use them and add them into various recipes when I'm seasoning with my salt and pepper and whatever else I'm using. So I just have a variety of these small dishes beside the oven, and it works really well. So you might like to consider that. So now that all of our lemons are cleaned and we've taken off any little bits and pieces that, of course, we don't want to eat, we can slice them in a couple of different ways. This is 3 lemons that are, these aren't particularly large. So 3 lemons fills this size mason jar. You could also use this size. I think this is great for little gifts. Wonderful little gift idea, depending on what you have in your pantry. But the quickest way is, I think, to just quarter these lemons, slice them quite thinly. You will need a sharp knife. I highly recommend getting yourself a good knife if you don't have one. Ask for one for Christmas or a birthday. You just can't beat a good knife. It's so frustrating to cook anything with a knife that is super dull. So we're just going to go like that and into our bowl. So that's one method. All right. So another method that you might like to do is to do nice rounds. And I think this can look really beautiful, not only in the jar, but on the dish that you're going to be serving. You may really, make something quite beautiful by doing these small rounds like this. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to add this to my bowl. And so for each jar, I know I've got a little bit more in here than one full jar. I'm going to add approximately a heaping tablespoon of sea salt. And then what I'm going to do is I'm really going to get in here and I'm going to massage. And I'm going to massage this so it starts to really release all of the juices from the lemons. And the other thing that's going to happen here is that a lot of the seeds are going to be left at the bottom. So we are going to just work this a little bit, and then we're going to add this into our jar. Love this. I'm going to use this wonderful bigger mouth here to add all of this goodness to our jar. Now, this is a great opportunity to decide what kinds of flavors you want to add to your jar. And I think for me, I've done this before, and I really love these little red chilies. So in fact, these have been washed. I'm going to tuck a few of these down in the jar all the way around, and they actually look really beautiful as well. And you do get a lovely hint, definitely get a hint of that spice. And actually you can see now that I've massaged, I could probably go another full lemon there, but doesn't that look nice? Really, really great. So I'm going to add my liquid. You can strain this off if you wish, getting rid of your seeds, but you can just pour that over top of your lemons. And what's really important is to make sure that they are submerged. And you want them submerged under the liquid so that they do not become moldy, that you don't want any air in there. So one of the great tools that you can pick up are these mason jar weights, and you can buy them online. Different stores carry them, but they're quite heavy. It's like a puck, and they rest on top, and ensuring that everything is covered. All of the liquid is above your product, so they're sure not to go moldy. So there's one type right there. So with the slices that we did, our nice rounds here, I'm actually going to flavor them with, I've got some fresh thyme. I'm going to use some fresh rosemary. I'm not going to chop this. I'm just giving little, some of these nice needles and putting them in whole. And I'm also going to use some peppercorns. I think for me that would taste really good. So same as we did with the last ones, we are going to mix this together and add our salt. So I'm going to add a nice heaping tablespoon of my sea salt and massage that in. I'm not going to be as vigorous because I do want these rounds to kind of stay intact. So now I will start Just layering this into my jar. Again, you don't have to get too fancy about this. It's all going to be beautiful. You know, when you start with beautiful fresh products, you always end up with beautiful results in the end. So, you know, the trick with cooking is to trust yourself. Trust that you're going to make something that's beautiful, and use your imagination. You know, cooking is all about being creative and finding the magic within the ingredients that you're using. So I've got a few more here. I can see that I've got some space, so I want to just make sure that I fill this up to the top. So, you know, I highly recommend that you play around with these recipes and find what works for you and what works for your family, and what do you like to make. So would love to hear from you, and would also really like to know what you make. And if you make these preserved lemons, let me know how it goes. And I really hope that you enjoy this. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.